What is going on, guys? I'm Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video on the channel where today we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of pointless facts about Call of Duty Zombies. You might think these are interesting, and to be honest, for someone who was super interested in zombies in the first place, these kind of are, but they're not really useful when it comes to playing the game, which makes them all that bit more intriguing. I think I've got about 30 here for you guys, so let's just get into them. Did you know that one of the original ideas for Call of Duty Zombies in the first place came from the movement of burning soldiers in World at War's campaign? Some of the very first developers for the Call of Duty Zombies mode took inspiration for how the zombies moved from soldiers that were set alight, on fire. As they stumbled and moved around from side to side, their movement looked like zombies. And it was seeing those burning soldiers that inspired the Zombies mode and how zombies moved. The longest amount of time a main Easter egg in a Zombies map has taken the community to solve, I believe, is Revelations, which was just over a week. Every other main Easter egg up until this point had been 7 days or under. Derice took 1 to 2 days. That one is because it was, you could say, the first main Easter egg ever, and the reason it took a couple of days to solve was because no one even knew Easter eggs existed during that time. That's if you would class Derice's as one. Ascensions took 3 days to solve, being the first proper main Easter egg ever in Zombies. Call of the Dead's main Easter egg took 1 day to solve. Shangri-La's 2 days. Moon 1 day. Transit took 2 days. Die Rise 2 days. Mob of the Dead 1, Buried 2, Origins 2, Shadows of Evil 6 days, Horizon Draka then took 2 days, Zetsubo no Shima had a time of 22 hours and 37 minutes exactly, Gorod Kurova took 1 day, and Revelations took over a week. I think if I'm being precise it was 9 days. I could be wrong on that, but it was just over a week, giving Revelations the title of longest Zombies Easter egg to solve. Whenever you're playing the game, you might have heard the zombies say the word Sam. And they've said this ever since its release back in 2008, Naktor and Toten. But this wasn't Treyarch's original intention. Just like all of the other mumble jumble nonsense sounds, groans and moans that you hear the zombies say, Sam was just another one of them. It wasn't supposed to be a word or a name that the zombies were saying, it was just a random noise. But back in 2008, the community heard this, they came up with the idea that, okay, these zombies must be saying this name Sam, but who is he? What does it mean? And Treyarch then took inspiration from that and integrated it into the zombie story, creating a character we know as Samantha, linking the two together. So originally the zombies saying Sam was nothing, but the community made it into something and then Treyarch implemented it into the game as a part of the storyline. You can actually find the Wonder Weapon in Black Ops 1's campaign in the level known as Numbers. There is a small Easter egg that you can do which will give you access to the Thundergun. There is also a way of accessing the Ray Gun in World at War's campaign in the mission known as Little Resistance. So if for some reason you're ever going through them again, make sure you give them a try because they're quite fun to use. If you're a console player, you probably know that Deadshot Daiquiri costs 1,500 points, but if you've never played the PC version, you might not know that Deadshot actually costs 1,000 points in order to compensate the lack of aim assist when using mouse and keyboard. One of Deadshot Daiquiri's main features is that when you zoom into a zombie, you go straight to the head instead of the body, but since aim assist doesn't exist on PC, Treyarch knocked 500 points off the price of the perk due to the disadvantage that PC players had with it. You might also know that Blundell is a sucker for medieval castles. Yep, that's a pointless fact. Dead Ops Arcade, a game mode that has returned multiple times within Zombies, is actually only made by one person. When you think Treyarch Zombies, you think multiple developers creating the mode, but when it comes to Dead Ops Arcade, it is just one single person that makes it. And he goes by the name of David King. He is the technical director at Treyarch. He said, and I quote, "Dead Ops Arcade was inspired by the kind of games I loved growing up in the 80s. The mode started out as a simple homage to classic arcade games, and things just kept getting crazier from there. The dedication that our fans continue to show to Dead Ops Arcade inspired us to continue pushing this mode to new places. And since then, David gave us Dead Ops Arcade 2 and Dead Ops Arcade 3, which is crazy to think that one person can create something like this. You might notice that World at War only had 3 DLC Zombies maps compared to the usual 4 that we get nowadays, being Verrucht, Shinonuma and Derice, and the reason why there wasn't a DLC 4 was because it was cut and instead released as a base map for Black Ops 1. That map was Kino der Toten. Kino was supposed to be DLC 4 for World at War, but because it was deemed too close to the release of Modern Warfare 2, instead Treyarch saved the map and released it on Black Ops 1. Hence why on that game we had 2 maps on day 1 being Kino and 5. If Kino ended up being DLC 4 for World at War, then there may have been a chance that we only got 1 map on disc for Black Ops being 5. And at the same time, Moon was never supposed to exist, and instead it should have been Paris. It was going to take place near the Eiffel Tower, but also feature the catacombs. The whole concept of no man's land that we see on Moon was originally designed for the Paris map. Basically, the Pack-a-Punch machine was going to be under the Eiffel Tower. That was going to play as a conduit to it. You can actually see pictures of what this map would have looked like on a board you find in Doris. But in the end, Treyarch decided to scrap that idea. I guess it wasn't good enough for the finale of Black Ops 1 Zombies for the final map, and instead, they took us to the moon. In 5, behind one of the windows, you can see an old teleporter, the base of it, and on there is writing that says, "For M, who started me on this journey." This teleporter was taken by the Americans from Group 935 Space. This is part of Max's original teleporter that he created, that without it, the zombie story wouldn't have been possible, since teleportation is a huge part of it. And talking about 5, yes, we know the wonder weapon is the Winter's Howl, but originally the wonder weapon on this map was supposed to be the Wunderwaffe DG2. There are still unused sound files in the game where you hear the character's reactions to getting the wonder weapon 5 from the mystery box, which is a proof that originally the Wunderwaffe was supposed to be the wonder weapon on this map. Although this is well known now, for the longest time everybody was wondering who the bald person on the poster for Ascension was. There were ideas that this was Richtofen, this was Dempsey. For years since Ascension's release, we were just speculating, up until it was eventually confirmed by Jason Blundell that this wasn't Richtofen, and instead through Dr. Monty's radios that we hear in the Zombies Chronicles version, the bald man on the Ascension poster is actually Anton Gersh, not Richtofen. If you're playing with 2 or more players on Moon, no matter what, you'll always play as Richtofen and Dempsey. They'll always be in the game, whereas Takeo and Nikolai alternate. However, if you're playing solo in Black Ops 3s, then you'll always start as Richtofen. This is vital for completing Moon's Easter egg, since Richtofen is the only character that can hold the Vril device and you need him to switch bodies with Samantha. So if you're playing solo, then you'll always play as Richtofen, whereas on any other BO3 map, you can play as the other characters. Most, if not all of our perks in Zombies seem to be based off real life drinks. Juggernog, as you can tell by the name, is based off eggnog. However, if you look at the machine, it was very clearly inspired by the old Coca-Cola machines. For that reason, some people have said that Juggernog was inspired by Coca-Cola, but as you can tell by the name Juggernog, it is an eggnog drink. However, Speed Cola does seem to be inspired by Coca-Cola. Not only the name Speed Cola telling us it is a cola drink, but if you think about what Speed Cola does, it speeds you up, and what was the main ingredient of Coca-Cola back in the day? Let's not get into it. Stamina Up looks like it could be based off the drink 7-Up. PhD Flopper is more than likely based off Dr. Pepper. Electric Cherry looks like a cherry soda drink, but if you look at the name of it and the map that it appeared on, Mob of the Dead, Electric Chair E, a pun on electric chairs. A big part of the main Easter egg in that map, where our main crew was sentenced to death by electric chair. So Electric Chair E is a play on its name. Double Tap Root Beer is of course a root beer based drink. Quick Revive Soda, although it's difficult to point out a specific one, it's obviously a soda. Some people have said this is Mountain Dew, some people have said Sprite. That one I'm not too sure on. Deadshot Daiquiri is a daiquiri. As to what flavour, strawberry. Mule Kick looks like it's based off a drink called Moscow Mule, which is a popular cocktail made with vodka, ginger beer and lime juice. Tombstone Soda is another one that we're unsure on. All we know is that it's a soda. Again, some people have said this could be 7-Up due to its name and it reviving us, getting you up. That sounds sussy. Who's Who, if you actually look in the game files, is actually called Chug-a-Bud, and if you search up what a Chug-Bud is, it's a pocket-sized beer bong. Widow's Wine is based off red wine. Vulture Aid is of course some kind of aid fizzy drink, but could be Gatorade, and the Wonder Fizz, we'll just throw that one in there, is a drinks machine. On Horizon Draka, there is a raven that you can shoot. Everybody thought this must be the first step of an Easter egg, but still to this day, no one has found out anything else about it. It may just be that this is a random raven that we can kill, or maybe there are more steps to it. And finally, in Kino der Toten on the Wii version, there is a radio that you can only find on this console. If you play PC or Xbox or PlayStation, this radio isn't available for you, but if you play Black Ops on the Wii, well, you can find it, and when you listen to it, it talks of the Chinese Communist Party and the Great Leap Forward. Now, the Great Leap Forward is of course a zombies map that we know, Die Rise, but more than likely there's no link between this radio you find on Kino and Die Rise, and only because it's only available on one console, but also of the gap between both maps. However, this radio is super random because what does the Great Leap Forward and propaganda in China have to do with a zombies map based in Berlin? It's just a super random radio that you find in the game.
These villagers were portrayed in propaganda films as happy and highly motivated, although in fact, they were soon to suffer a terrible moral and physical collapse. Tens of thousands of people died as a result of industrial accidents in the hazardous conditions they were made to work in. The Communist Party came up with a crude calculation that every worker will build 1 meter of canal and the project will end in 3 months.
So there we go, a bunch of pointless but I would say interesting facts in Call of Duty Zombies. There is so much history with this mode that you could create 100, 200, 300 plus facts that probably aren't super useful that you need to know, but are still cool nonetheless. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully if you enjoyed the video today, if you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.